Hello, people of the internet, my name is Johnny, and welcome to yet another very exciting FNAF news video, where we have finally gotten an update on the much anticipated Dead by Daylight and Five Nights at Freddy's collab, because it has been confirmed that on Friday, we will get our very first look at the collaboration. So in today's video, I'm going to be going through what to expect on Friday in terms of the announcement, what we can expect in the collab itself, as well as a possible release date for the collab. Of course, when it finally releases this summer, we will be playing it here on the channel. We'll be doing a whole bunch of streams on it, and I'll also be streaming the announcement on Friday, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel to make sure you don't miss out on any brand new news regarding the collab. So back in March, fans got an email from PAX East confirming that Dead by Daylight would be at the convention, and it read, Dead by Daylight will be celebrating its 9th anniversary at PAX East on May 9th. Join the team for an exciting showcase and early look at their collaboration with Five Nights at Freddy's, as another year of Dead by Daylight is about to begin. And then shortly after that email went out, we got the official PAX account making their own post. The anniversary like you've never seen it before. Join us at PAX East to celebrate the 9th anniversary of Dead by Daylight on May 9th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and learn more about their collab with Five Nights at Freddy's. Can't make it? The event will be streamed live on YouTube and Twitch. And then the other day, we finally got the official announcement from Dead by Daylight themselves. We're shaking things up this year. Watch our anniversary ceremony broadcast live at PAX East for a first look at the Five Nights at Freddy's chapter, and so much more. We'll also be at the Dead by Daylight booth every day from the 8th to the 11th. So first up, I feel like it was pretty obvious. I feel like we already kind of knew this already, but they did officially confirm the FNAF collab is a chapter. I'm sure not that many people thought it was just going to be cosmetics, but straight from Dead by Daylight themselves, this is no longer speculation. They have officially confirmed it. The FNAF collab is a chapter, and we'll get to what that means in a few moments. But first, I want to take a quick look at this poster, because of course it has details for the event, live from PAX East, May 9th at 11 a.m. ET, but they also have, down by the bottom, stop by to meet the team, play the game, buy some merch, along with other surprises. Would be very interesting if they had a playable version of the FNAF collab at PAX East. Now, this is just speculation. I have no idea if they're going to have a playable build of the FNAF collab at PAX East. It would be incredible, but if not, luckily we won't have to wait too much longer to get our hands on a playable build, and that we're going to talk about in a quick moment. But first of all, I want to share some brand new details we have on the collab, because recently we had the King Gaming, who is a very incredible Dead by Daylight YouTuber. They did an interview with some of the Dead by Daylight developers, Matthew Coate, the game director, as well as Rose Lee, the product director, and this is what they had to say about the FNAF collaboration.
FNAF is coming.
Yeah.
How excited are you guys for FNAF joining the fog?
Very.
Yeah. So we're in the thick of it now. So it's really intense, and there's a lot of efforts being put into it. It's a lot of tension, it's a lot of stress. There's a lot of cool stuff. Because that's the thing, right? Whenever we release a chapter, we try to outdo ourselves, we try to do a little more, but then that becomes the bar.
Yeah.
For the next one. We can't do worse, so we'll have to do just a little more, and every single time, but we don't have more time. There's a lot to do in FNAF, but it's gonna be cool.
We've been waiting for this chapter to happen for such a long time. We really, really want to do it justice. So we've been listening to all these small details, just trying to talk with the licensor how we can make every single detail perfect and true to the whole franchise.
Yeah, because that's the thing. The licensors, they know their fans better than we do.
Right.
They know what's important to them, what little detail people are gonna just hang on to, and which ones they're gonna really be excited to see. So we have to trust them on that.
And you can tell by how they're talking about the collab that this is an absolutely massive collaboration, likely the biggest chapter in the game's history. So they're really going all out. Now, you may be wondering if maybe you're not too well versed in Dead by Daylight. What exactly does a chapter entail? A chapter, very simply, is just a brand new killer and a brand new survivor to play as. However, with how big it seems that this DLC with FNAF is going to be, I'm honestly expecting a bit more than just a killer and a survivor. I think it is pretty much guaranteed that the killer we're getting is going to be Springtrap. He's the real main requested killer for FNAF and Dead by Daylight. I'd say he's the most recognizable FNAF antagonist. A lot of people have been really dying for Springtrap to be added to the game. I suppose it's possible maybe they go with something like Freddy just for brand recognition, or the Mimic if they want to advertise the new antagonist of FNAF. However, I think plain and simple, it just has to be Springtrap. That's what everyone has been saying for years and years now. He just really makes the most sense, and I think adding any other FNAF character as the killer would be honestly a bit of a letdown in quite a lot of fans' mind. I think it's entirely possible we can get other FNAF characters in the form of skins for already existing killers. I mentioned the Mimic earlier. I've also seen some incredible fan art of Ennard as some skins for Dead by Daylight killers, but I think Springtrap, he's pretty locked in as the killer for this chapter. As for survivors, like I said, usually the chapters come with one. However, again, with how big FNAF is going to be, I'm thinking we're getting 2 survivors. I think it's incredibly likely that one of them is going to be Michael Afton, which would be incredible because that would be pretty much our first official model for Mike in the games. I suppose it's not impossible that they use the likeness of Josh Hutcherson as the model for Mike in this chapter. However, with the lack of any Universal or even Blumhouse copyright on the original announcement image from last year, it doesn't look like they've landed any rights to use anything from the movies, which would include the likenesses of Josh Hutcherson. So if we get Mike as a survivor, this might be our first official look at him in full with an actual model. As for the second survivor, because I do honestly think we'll be getting 2, I think Vanessa's a pretty safe bet for the second one. They already have a model from Security Breach. Again, it doesn't seem that they have the license, the rights to use the likeness for Elizabeth Lale. Vanessa's already a pretty widely recognized human character, probably one of the most popular, one of the most beloved, I know. I sure as hell love her. Though I also, quite frankly, wouldn't mind Charlie from the Silver Eyes novel trilogy being a survivor, but I do think Vanessa is just a more recognizable human character in regards to female FNAF humans. So killer, likely Springtrap, survivors, likely Mike and Vanessa. But what about the map? Because again, it seems that Behavior is going all out for this collab. I do think we're going to get a map. I would love to see a FNAF map. I doubt it would be any one-to-one recreations of like the original FNAF 1 map or even anything from the movie. I think what they're going to do is Behavior is going to create their own version of a FNAF establishment, which would be awesome. I'd really love to see how they'd go about that. Obviously, making sure the layout fits the gameplay of Dead by Daylight, but also hopefully I would love to see another company's take on a design and aesthetic for a FNAF pizzeria. It would be awesome as well to get influences from various different locations throughout the FNAF franchise, taking elements from the first couple pizzerias, maybe Fazbear Frights, the Mega Pizzaplex, Circus Babies. There's a rumor right now, I'm not going to go into leaks too much, but there's a rumor that maybe we're able to use security cameras as survivors to locate and maybe ward off the killer. So maybe we're able to interact with various elements throughout the pizzeria or whatever map they make, closing doors, turning on lights, again, checking those security cameras. And then the last thing that fans love to theorize with brand new Dead by Daylight chapters are the abilities and powers for the killer. Now, quite frankly, I am not well versed in Dead by Daylight powers and abilities. However, I think really anything tying it back into Springtrap and the general gameplay of FNAF 3 would be great. Maybe Springtrap's able to make these survivors hallucinate. Maybe they're going to see some of the Phantom animatronics, getting a quick jump scare from them. Maybe it's like in FNAF 1, where we get a whole bunch of like creepy imagery flashing on the screen with "It's me" appearing everywhere. Or vision gets blurry. Maybe we can't hear our audio so well, and that's kind of in tune with the audio, visual ventilation systems going out in FNAF 3. Like I said, I'm not all that educated on the powers and abilities for killers in Dead by Daylight, so this topic in particular, I would really love to know your thoughts and theories on. But anyways, enough with what is likely going to be in the chapter. Let's get back to when can we expect the chapter to be released. Well, like we already touched upon, we're going to get our very first look at the chapter come Friday, May 9th, and it looks like we're going to get a playable test build, a PTB as it's called in the community, later on in the month. I believe the theorized date right now is either the 21st or the 27th of May. Those exact dates are not confirmed, but I do believe it is is confirmed that it will be later on in the month. And then fans have also noticed that events going on in the game right now are ending around mid-June, which has led a lot of fans to theorize that mid-June release is going to be around the release of the FNAF chapter, which it's not officially confirmed, but if it is true, that's less than a week after Secret of the Mimic. June is going to be a very busy month for FNAF fans. Recently, Dead by Daylight announced a brand new initiative to roll out a whole bunch of quality of life improvements, which they said might delay future collabs, chapters, updates, all that good stuff. It has not been confirmed or touched upon if FNAF is involved in any of those delays. I would assume during that May 9th live stream, we're going to get more confirmation on release timings, maybe even an exact release date. But that is all of the updates for FNAF Dead by Daylight right now. Like I said, I will be streaming the announcement, the reveal for the chapter on May 9th at 11 a.m. Subscribe so don't miss out on that. Subscribe so you stay up to date with everything going on with FNAF. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the flip side. Goodbye.